about is software development revolution in Africa. And it's basically a wrap-up of everything that is been said. Most of the speakers focus on practice, on things that they do at work, and how all the successes that Agile has brought to their organizations. So what I'll talk about is this talk will cover is just an introduction, and then after that we'll look into what I call the software development timeline, and then the human development metaphor. That's a metaphor that we'll use to try and explain software development, and then conclusion. So it's just those two main things that we talk about. Right. To introduce what makes software development so complex is grouped into three blocks that you're going to see up there, but there's nothing fancy about the blocks. The first one is the problem and the requirements, and in the problem and the requirements, we usually represent that in text or some diagrams. So if a customer comes to you and there's something that must be developed, they usually just tell you what they think they need. And they might give you something that is written down, or they tell you to write it down, either in text or in images. And at the end, what do you get if you're developing software? Some text as well, isn't it? They call it code, or whatever fancy term you use for that. And there could be some images as well that will help someone to understand your code. In between, we have the human mind. That's the one that actually generates or processes the problem, the requirements, and produces the product. And all the complexities that we have in software development are actually based on the problems that relate to the human mind. It's very difficult to understand the things that go on in the human mind, and most of the complexity of software development actually lie in that middle block in the human mind. If we could know how to control that, how to manage that, then we'd actually very easily manage software developers the way we manage all the other professionals that do certain work. Now, the software development time, from 1945 to around 1965, what was happening there? This is where I need some input from you. I know you know all these things, so we are not in the class, we're just brainstorming through that. So in terms of software development, I said the software development timeline. What was happening between 1945 and 1965? Pardon? Lunch codes. What else? 1945 to 1965. Oh, you can Google that. Yes.
The guys who were cracking the code between all the enemies that eventually were it all started.
Okay, it's in terms of software development.
Well, no, but they were not that the actual telecommunications code.
Oh, okay. Right. What's called and all other things. Okay. Right. Software development. Thank you for that one. Must be an engineer. Okay. Maybe I'm not asking the question right. I didn't expect software developers to know that. That's where the software engineering started. The origins of software engineering were actually around that time, between 1945 and 1965. Right. And then the period that followed, that is 1965 to 1985, what was happening there? So people started developing software way before that, from 1945 to 1965. And then what followed was the software crisis, isn't it? Right. So then lots of software, and software was giving them problems, and maintenance issues, and production issues, productivity or production issues that actually dominated the 1965 to 1985 period. And then the period that followed from 1985 to 1989, what was happening there? Structured programming, that's what I get. What else? Yes, that's correct. Structured programming. What else was happening during that period? In terms of software, we're just talking about software engineering, software development. There are no tricks, there's nothing hidden. What else was happening?
Waterfall methods.
From 1985 to 1989. The internet started after 1990. That's the next job. So that's the period that was called no silver bullet period, where lots of these methods started coming up and trying to solve the software crisis problem, and a lot of solutions that were assumed to be good solutions to the problems that were happening. So the methodology jungle started there, if you want to call it the jungle. Some people don't like calling it that because it gives negativity. Right. And then from 1990 to 1999, what happened? Software development. This is the software development timeline that you can get from Wikipedia. So it's not like I've come up with something new or complex. Right, what was happening? Object-oriented programming. What else? Your answer is now relevant. Yes. Right, the internet came in and changed the way we do development, the way we do business. Everything changed because of the internet. And that happened from that time. Then after 2000, from 2000 to today, what's the main thing? Mobile. What else? That's the period that I've named software development the Agile era. Because Agile has changed the way software development is done wherever you are on the planet. And there's no way Africa cannot adapt to that change. So this is the reason why you find that everyone who deals with software development talks Agile, even if they don't understand what Agile is. They've realized that that's the thing that everyone must be doing. Right, so then the human development metaphor, as I was thinking about what to present, I thought I actually found human development something very interesting that can be likened to developing software. So there's some nice diagrams there of children right from the infant up to, up to the grave, unfortunately. But how many of us are proud to be parents of beautiful children? Wonderful. I am one of them. Right. If you don't have children, maybe you're also proud of your brother or sister. Right. Before birth, what are the most exciting things that you think about before you start having children? I can tell you the exciting thing because my experience before I started having children, before we started having children. But it might not be exciting. I want to do it for me so that you don't sleep.
Good night, sleep.
We're planning here. We're planning to have children. Maybe we discuss with your wife how many children you should have. You have to agree how many children you should have. And also agree on the gender, isn't it? Unfortunately, you can't control that. Okay. So, but the point is, there's some planning that happens. You get excited about it, and you visualize the big ones playing in your house and everything, and you think of your background now and the kind of genes that you have, because we all think very well about ourselves, isn't it? Right. And you say now the combination of this is going to produce just geniuses, wonderful children that will do amazing things. then you get going, isn't it? Right, so the little one comes, what happens then? Okay, before the little one comes, in software engineering then, in software development, that would be likened to the engineering processes and systems engineering and whatever that gave birth to software engineering or to software development. Remember, people actually looked at engineering and how well it was structured, controlled by certain standards and laws and so forth. They decided, why don't we have developed software? This is the way engineering is actually done. So the philosophies that actually help get software engineering are based in engineering. Right, so that's like you now saying, okay, my father is, okay, he was born by medical doctors 1 week. So you look at that and say, okay, my family is like this is my background, my grandfather, and whatever, down to 5th generation. We're just perfect like this, so we're going to have children that are like that. That's what you're looking for. So that's basically what the guys who actually developed or who engineered software engineering were thinking. We're looking at your civil engineering, mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, assuming that we're going to come up with processes that will help us develop software. Now the little one is born. You probably don't have, okay, you'll be very excited. The first time I remember when my daughter was born, the first day I went to the hospital, she was just like this. I couldn't believe that now there's a third member of the family. We're going to have fun, enjoy ourselves. It was very tiny. I didn't even know how to hold it in my hands. But the first night, we didn't sleep. She was crying throughout the night. You ask her, are you hungry? She cries. She cries. All day she cries. And that went on for weeks and weeks. And the baby was not well. The doctor said, no, the baby is fine. It's just growing up. Until my mother came and said, no, she's going to stop crying when she turns 9 months. So my wife said, how do you know? She said, no, that's how the father did it. And guess what? In 9 months, she stopped crying.